Okay, today we're going to be shooting a video on how to set up and operate the Oxyfuel Torch. We're going to be using acetylene for a fuel gas today. Whenever you use the torch, first thing I do after I pick up the torch is I just make sure that all my knobs are shut off. It's a good starting point, a good habit to get into. There's a lot of debate about which cylinder to open first. I prefer to open the oxygen first, and you want to open them very slowly, open it up all the way. The key is just to do it slowly, do it safely. So you're going to open the oxygen all the way, and on your pressure, your line pressure, you want the acetylene torch to be set somewhere between 30 and 40 depending on your torch and what you're doing. You really don't need to exceed that number. On the acetylene cylinder, we're just going to open it up one turn. That way if something happens we can shut it off very quickly, and we want the pressure on that one to be set between 5 and 7. Those are good numbers. If it's not cutting through the material, you don't need to turn the pressure up, you need to change the cutting tip. The cutting tips are what determine the thickness of material that can be cut, not the pressure. So if it's not cutting through and you have your settings correct, you probably just need to put a different tip on there, a cutting tip. After you get the gauges set, on this particular torch you have 2 adjustment knobs on the bottom. One controls your oxygen. You can just open that one up, because you also have an oxygen adjustment up here on the cutting attachment. The other knob down here controls your acetylene. When you get ready to strike the torch, you're just going to open it up about a quarter turn, hit it, let it start burning, then open it up some more until you get a nice flame going. There's no black soot floating in the air. Then you're going to introduce the oxygen until you achieve a neutral flame, which is where the cones on at the tip of the cutting tip are very sharply defined. So let's show you how to do that. You're going to take your striker. Always treat it like a loaded gun. You don't want to have the torch pointed at you or next to the cylinders or anything. You want to keep the torch pointed away from any objects. So you're going to open your acetylene, your fuel gas, about a quarter of a turn, and you're just going to hit it with your striker. You can see some black soot coming off here. We're just going to open it up some more so we get a nice flame going, about like that right there. Then I'm going to introduce my oxygen, so I'm just going to open my knob up here a little bit at a time. Now the blue cones on there are sharply defined. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my cutting attachment lever, and if you notice, the shape of the cones changes. I'm going to give it just a little bit more oxygen. Hit it again. And that's the kind of flame we're looking for, where the cones are nice and sharply defined. When you hit the cutting lever, there's a little variation in the cones. When you get ready to cut something with this, what you want to do is you want to place the tip of the blue cone on top of the steel, and when the steel turns red hot, then you're going to hit the lever and start moving along the cut. To shut down the torch, just shut off your oxygen and your acetylene. Some guys will shut off the acetylene first. Here again, you talk to 10 different flame cutters. They'll tell you 10 different ways to shut down the torch. Whichever way you do it safely, do it slowly. So I always shut the oxygen off, then I'll shut off the acetylene. But to each his own. And that's how you use the acetylene torch for cutting.